my god. I always forget. Hello. I bought Tears of the Kingdom. Probably might have been a bad idea. Maybe a bad idea. Might have been possibly a bad idea. But I wanted it, so I got it. Boom. Wait. Boom, bitches. Sorry, you can see my my ring light. Boom. I wanted it, so I got it. You shut the fuck up. Shut up. Okay. I guess this is my first Switch 2 game that I outright bought. And Sandy goes, well, technically second, because I got the Mario Kart edition of this game. So technically, she's right. I bought Mario Kart. But I also didn't buy Mario Kart because it was the Switch edition. So, I don't know. Shut the fuck up. You know what? My boss today was like, you need to own an iron. You know, she might be right. This is a little embarrassing, you know. Whatever. It's fine. We roll with it. So, a thing about this is that I have a save from when I played playing in Illinois. Is this all the same day? That's so sad. I only played one day of this. That's actually sad. I thought I played more. Apparently not. Or if I did, it just didn't save that I played a lot. I don't know. I do actually remember this area though. At least a little bit. Oh no, these are the most recent saves of that. It doesn't go all the way down, obviously. Okay, never mind. I'm stupid because this is all within the same like 20 minutes. So I've played a bit. But because it's been 2 years, that's at 2024. It's been 2 years. I'm going to press new game here. We're gonna save it over this. Yeah. I don't need that save. It doesn't matter. I don't need that save. And we gonna get in this bitch because I wanna fucking play it. I'm gonna turn into a Zelda channel. Not kidding, I actually have 2 more Zelda games on the way. Not joking. Tears of the Kingdom. Let's fucking go, bitch! And I got a Zelda controller. Man, this is perfect. This is just perfect. Where are we going? This takes place...
This strange gloom keeps getting thicker.
Not too long after Breath of the Wild, right? Canonically. Hold up. Let me look that up. What are the Zelda games in canonical order? The Unified Era before the split. Hold up. We're gonna pause this real quick. The Unified Era before the split. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Never played that. Honestly, haven't played a lot of the Zelda games. It's really bad. I should. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. The earliest chronological story detailing the creation of the Master Sword and origin of the curse. Oh, I should play it, though. Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap. What the fuck was that noise? Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap. Legend of Zelda Four Swords. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The pivotal game where the timeline splits into 3 paths based on the outcome of the final battle. That's cool. Branch 1, the Downfall timeline. The hero is defeated. In this reality, Link is defeated by Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time, leading to a darker era of Hyrule's decline. A Link to the Past. Link's Awakening. I bought that. Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. A Link Between Worlds. Triforce Heroes, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I want to play that. I've seen it. I really want to play it. The Legend of Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, the original 1986 NES game. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Branch 2, The Child Timeline. The hero is victorious and returns to childhood. In this reality, Link returns to his childhood after defeating Ganon, warning the royal family before the tragedy occurs. Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Four Swords Adventures. Branch 3, The Adult Timeline. The hero is victorious and leaves. In this reality, Link triumphs and is sent away, leaving an era where a future Hyrule lacks a hero of time and is eventually flooded. The Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks. The Distant Future, Reconverged or Far Removed. Breath of the Wild, set so far in the future that historical timelines have blurred into legend. And Tears of the Kingdom, a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild. Yeah, okay. This game takes place right after, chronologically, right after the Breath of the Wild. Watch the short breakdown. No, I don't want to watch anything. Okay, but these are the last two chronologically. So I'm starting from the end with these games. Link's Awakening, though, I bought. Let me see what I bought, actually. Sorry. Not what I want. Fuck. I'm trying to play, sorry. It's just not loading. And I'm impatient. Where is it? Here. Nope. Here. These two. It's so bright. Why did I do that to myself? Jesus fucking Christ. Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening and Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is what I got. Is Echoes of Wisdom on this all? Does it say? Yeah, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Positioned right after Triforce Heroes on the official Nintendo timeline. So that's where the hero is defeated. Hello. Is that branch of the timeline. So I got both of the games that I got are in the hero is defeated by Ganon. Not Ganon, but Ganondorf. They are different, and I do know that. Anyways. Oops. You guys couldn't see it. Sorry. I never imagined this was all deep beneath Hyrule Castle. Ah, that's where we are. Wow. And I have the Master Sword. And just, for some reason, a little bit more strapped. Are we releasing Ganon?
People have been falling ill after coming into contact with the gloom drifting through these caverns. Though here it seems almost misty and not concentrated enough to harm us. We'll keep going, with it coming up from beneath Hyrule Castle. We do not know what waits below, so we need to be ready for anything. I know I'll be okay with you, Link. Let's go solve this mystery.
Sure. Yeah, we'll be okay. Another reason why I didn't start and actually overrode, fuck me, the save that I had is because I don't remember any of this. It was 2 fucking years ago. I don't remember it. Uh-oh. The Master Sword means that Ganon's close. He must be sensing something. I knew he had a reason for concern. Ever since the end of the calamity, the castle has fallen into neglect. But I never could have imagined anything like these tunnels were hiding here. We must be careful as we move deeper. Is your father alive? Or is he dead? Holy fuck, my hearts. Oh, shit. Hold the fucking phone. Oh, shit. Did I seriously? Hold up. I did. That's really funny. Sorry. Okay. There we go. It's actually not funny. It's really stupid. I'm really fucking stupid. But look here. It's an eyeball. These are ruins for an ancient civilization. Interesting. Wait, something's written here. Might these ruins be from Zonai? Oh my god. These carvings. I'm sure they're Zonai in origin. I've seen designs like this in my studies. The Zonai are said to have lived long ago in the time of earliest legend. They possessed godlike powers and had a prosperous civilization in the sky. Many history books tell us about the Zonai, but none gives us the full picture. Much is still unknown about them. I talk too much about Zelda, by the way. I don't know if I actually mentioned this on stream. I see too much Zelda on my socials and everything. Oh, okay. Yeah. The Sheikah Slate is hers. Is this what the Zonai looked like? They seem so different than us. And such large ears. How did the ruins from a civilization in the sky end up here beneath the castle? Looks like the path ahead goes even deeper. Let's continue.
You're not hurt, are you, Link? Look at these
He doesn't
pillars.
talk because of, like, childhood trauma, right? I think.
The written histories of the royal family. Ancient stories of a great war fought long ago.
Those are what's
It was a conflict
under here.
between allied tribes and someone only ever referred to as
Under
the
here?
Demon King.
I don't see. I don't see that here
These
actually.
murals depict the same
I think we have different. I think we have different papers, or I think we have different ruins.
This is similar to the statues we saw earlier. A Zonai. And these figures look like Hylians.
We worshipped
This
them.
depiction certainly suggests that the Zonai descended from the heavens. It is said that my ancestors, the first of Hyrule's royal family, were born from a union with gods who had descended from the heavens. These murals tell a similar story, and if they are accurate, then the gods mentioned were the Zonai. They must have forged a relationship with the Hylians of that time, working together to establish the Kingdom of Hyrule. This figure, he seems to be stealing something of incredible power from the young kingdom. This all aligns with what I've read during my studies. And then this, it shows the Demon King. And a fierce battle against him. If the creature depicted here really does represent the Demon King, then...
Hey, I follow them.
This mural must be the Great War recorded in the royal histories. This is the imprisoning war, and the events that led up to it. Link, this is a huge discovery. All right then, now to use this invention of Pura's. I'm glad I didn't leave it behind. It's so easy to record. You point it and click. Looks like the rest of the murals are...
Looks exactly like a switch.
Just what is this place? Maybe we'll find more answers farther ahead. Link, let's keep moving deeper.
You sure? Sure you wanna do that? Like, this shit look dangerous as fuck. It just looks like Calamity Ganon. Zelda, you can move a little fucking faster, you know. I was trying to hear that images support so much of what historians have written about. Okay, that's it. She's just excited, not the least bit. Like, holy shit. What is this place? It's continuing, but we must be extremely careful. Okay.
What is that?
It's Ganon. Holy shit. It's a tear. That's so cool. No.
Was that the sword that seals the darkness? The blade that shatters so easily against my power cannot save you from me.
Isn't that supposed to be Matt?
You who carries that fragile sword, a link. Raru placed his
Matthew
faith
Mercer.
in you. And that was all you could do.
How do you know our names?
Cause it's Ganon. dummies. Whee! Yeah, that's fucking terrifying. Whee! No! Zelda! Oof. Hello, random magic hand. From, like, a prince of the Zorai or something? It was something like that, right? I don't fucking know. I don't remember. There goes the castle. Bye-bye. And now, it's attached to me. It's my arm now. I'm not in the resurrection cave. I'm in a tree. Looks like. It's not my hand. What?
Link, finally awake.
What are those underwear, my
I've
guy?
heard a great deal about you from Zelda. Your wounds were severe. I am relieved to see you escape death.
Done it a million times, my guy.
Your arm, however, was beyond saving. I had to replace it, lest the injury endanger you further.
My sword. Shit. Sword that seals the darkness. Its sacred power has been diminished after being ravaged by the gloom beneath Hyrule Castle. Is there anything in here? Nope, just a little hidey hole. Man, I had so much health. Nope, another little hidey hole. Look, what? Whoa! So wait, is it instead of a shake a slate this time, I have the arm. Right? Maybe? I don't know. Can't climb these walls? That's so fucking lame, dude. But those are something I can walk on those. Alright. Oops. Okay. Now, hang on. Because... Okay, can I change those controls? Because they're the... They're the wrong controls. Assign jump to B and dash and other actions to X. Yeah. Yeah, see? That shit, dude. You know, the old fucking controls. Why would I want it to be new controls? Dumb. Was there a chest or anything back here? No? I don't have clothes? Prevent you from taking fall damage. Okay, sick. Yeah, okay. Archaic legwear. Okay. So you're showing me the Switch 2 Pro controller. I don't have that. I have a different controller. I have a skirt on. It's so pretty. Wow. Look at that. I'm just fucking jumping off? Wait. Dragon! Ah! It's a dragon! Those things seriously fucking freaked me out. Is that Pharaoh? 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 So it might be Pharaoh. Look at him. He's so cute. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Wow. I have pants. Well, kind of. God, I wish I fucking swam faster. Hello, everybody. Hello. Oh. That store's running low on energy. That's fucking rude. Cool, I have a tree branch. Give it to me. I think this one also has a tree branch. Zonite charge. Interesting. Soldier construct horn. Okay. God damn, you jump high. Holy fuck. Look at that. Holy shit. Okay. Oh fuck, that's right. I can't glide yet. I don't have a fucking glider. Ooh, what are you? I'll take the wooden stick. What? Oh, yeah. Is that it? Okay. Okay then. I think the first thing I really want to do is like get the map. That's the first thing I did last time too. With Breath of the Wild. I think that's what I want to do here. Not the last time I played this game. That's I didn't do anything right. I don't think. If I'm totally honest. I don't think I did anything right the last time I played this game. Anything else on this floating island? No. There's one over there that I want to go to. I want to go over there. Can I go over there? Fuck. Probably not, right? Oh, I definitely can't go over there. What the fuck is that? What? What are you? Something that I'm not ready for. That's what. Oh man. Okay. What can I go to though? Oh, okay. I was wondering what the fuck that warning was. I'm so sorry. Jesus Christ. Or not warning, you know what I mean. Fucking, I don't know. Cool. An apple! Oh my god, I get apples again. Give me the other one. Yeah, buddy! I get apples! Apples! Alright. Oh. Huh? What is it? What are you? Hello. What are you? Hello. I don't. Oh my god. I don't remember you. Hi. Hi. Link, I've waited for you. Princess Zelda left something for you in my care. The Sheikah Slate. Okay. So I do still have it. Okay. Superpad. Okay. Never mind. I'm told it is fuck me. I am told it is an invaluable tool that will provide you with direction. Fucking hell. Cool. Thanks. Can I do the daily bonus thing yet? No. Sorry, I have the Zelda notes thing again. Great Sky Island. Yay! Oh, okay. So I'm going to whatever that thing is. Now pass it to you. My records indicate that Princess Zelda is waiting at the location marked on its map. My message has been delivered. Where am I? We stand in the Garden of Time. The Temple of Time is visible from here. It was used in the distant past. Many rites and ceremonies of the kingdom were held there. But no more. Now it is a lonely place. No one visits. Thank you. Create the bridge. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Oh, so smooth. Oh, so perfect. Thank you. What's over here? Anything? Is this just nothing? And I'm just... Okay, it's a tree branch. Okay. Anyways. This one. Key items. Materials, weapons. I can hold 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weapons. So dormant and in deep slumber. Sick. Yeah, I'm a threat. Oh. Hello, you seem to be new here. Be wary of soldier constructs if you travel this way. Soldier constructs are those of us given strict orders to protect this land. The Zonai who created us directed them to eliminate trespassers. They will consider you a trespasser too. You must treat them as a serious threat. Allow me to offer unsolicited advice. It is crucial to maintain a proper distance and target your opponent. Swinging haphazardly will not yield results. Well, it did earlier. Yeah. Do not actually attack. Delete. Oh, wait, can I do something? No? Okay. No, bye. Oh. I can just search it. Okay. I'm trying to get there. So, yeah. Sky shrimp. Hi. Bye. Ah, no. No, not what I wanted. Okay. Fuck. Let's go here. Hold. Cook. My first meal. Ba ba ba. Oh. Oh, okay. Interesting. Cool. It gives me full heart. Pepper! Peppers! It's over here. I know where I'm supposed to be going. I'm sorry. I want to explore. Oh, it was super foggy. I thought it was going to be ominous. It's not at all. Not even a little bit. That's kind of funny. Boy. Okay. Anyways. I do want to go over there, but I want to go over to the snowy bit first. Oh, my glider. And my stamina and my heart's back. I want to have my shit back. That's why I needed the spicy pepper. Hold on. Hold on. I'm an idiot, but I got it. I'm an idiot, but I got it. It's okay. I'm an idiot, but I got it. I'm sorry, Link. Got it. Literally saying that I want to go to the snowy place. What is this in 8 minutes? I should be perfect. Whatever the fuck I want to do, I don't care. What's over here? Oh, see? I can also just cook more shit down there. Sick. Stone axe? Fuck yeah. Bitch, Minecraft now. Oh, shit. I didn't see those things. I didn't see you. You saw me. I didn't see you. I don't have a bow. This is bullshit. I don't have a bow. Fucking hell. Oh, great. I have arrows. I don't have a bow, but I have arrows. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Hold up. Hold up. Not what I want. Fuck. Also, not what I wanted. Whoa. Confirming raft and Zonai device operational status. Part of my rudeness, do you require a raft? The ones by the riverbank are ready for use. The Zonai device has also been inspected. Zonai device. Yes, this green thing is called a Zonai device. The one I am inspecting is known as a fan and activates when struck to generate wind on demand. This river is meltwater. Falling into it will quickly sap your stamina. It's for this reason that I maintain rafts to cross the other banks. I should mention that the energy is essential for using a Zonai device. You will need an energy cell if you want to use this one. If you want to use one? There we go. This is a problem. You do not seem to have an energy cell. It would be impossible for you to use any Zonai devices without an energy cell. Zonai devices are essential on this island. I will give you a spare energy cell. A gift from a Zonai construct. Okay, thank you. Energy cells store the energy required to use the Zonai device. This energy will replenish automatically when the Zonai device is not in use. Be mindful of your energy reserves. It would be unfortunate to run out of misuse due to misuse. The rafts by the riverside have been thoroughly inspected. They are ready for your use in crossing the waters. I'm so sorry, guys. I actually really want chocolate. And I don't know why. I just do. and I want to see if I can get it delivered to me or if I need to go to the fucking store, and if I have to go to the store, I'll go tomorrow. I don't wanna go to the store. Whatever. Oh, whatever. Okay. Can I push? Oh, no. Okay. Can I push this? Do I have to push this? Because you don't happen to have a bow, then. I want a bow to get up to those guys, unless I need to go around this way. That actually makes sense. Well, it doesn't make sense. I don't like it, but it makes sense in the way that that's what I have to fucking do. Yeah, just keep going. Just, yeah. Thank you. That, honestly, is a lot of power. I did think I was gonna fucking rock it, and I... I'm not gonna... Oh, see, this one's the one that I use. Good to know. I have a ton of arrows now. There we go. Did I search him? Yeah, I did. The Zonai Church helped me out. Okay. Where am I going? I don't fucking know. Anywhere. Up to whatever that is. I don't think I did this before. I didn't actually explore. I just kind of did what I was asked to do. Ah, fuck. But I don't have... Okay. Shit. Yeah. So, shit. I need to learn how to use the hand here. Album. Feature not yet available. And feature not yet available. Okay. Cool. Ah. Whatever. Well, gonna make. Oh, no, it's over here. What am I doing? Gonna make a little bit more food. Just so I know that I'm okay. Sick. I probably should have, like, not done that. I should have done 2 instead of just 1, but whatever. I just 1, doesn't matter. Oh well. I'm sorry, I know I have a stupid fucking face on. Just normally. I apologize for my face. All the time. I know. Come on. There we go. You guys are probably thinking, Britt, fucking get to the point already. We've already watched other Let's Players do this shit. Fucking Christ. Thanks. I got a mushroom. Mushrooms. I don't care who you've seen do all this shit. I want to do it myself. Also, have to fight this bitch now. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, he's dead anyways. Sick. Sick. Thank you. Are you not? Oh. I don't know why. I kind of assumed that that was like a plant. Jeez. Why did I do that? Probably could have done the 8-minute one. I actually probably should have. But whatever. Yeah, it's ice. Shit. Can't get up. I can't get up anymore. Unless I have to go around the waterfall. Can I go around the waterfall? Wait a minute. Holy shit. I'm gonna be patient and just climb up. I'm not gonna jump. I'm gonna lose my stamina before I can get even halfway up if I jump. This is not a very flattering angle on you, Link. Hop, hip, ha, hip, hip, hop. Flint! Ah! Jesus. Okay. I don't know why I did that. Those things were up here, right? Up here? This is kind of what I assumed, is that they were here. Hold up. I don't think I can take a picture, but I want to. I don't have picture as an option on the Pura slate yet. Or Pura something. Pura something. I definitely can't get up there. I think I need to do stuff first. No, that's not. I was gonna say, they are the guys who are fucking me up. No, it's not. Anyways. Some guys who will fuck me up. As soon as I get up to them. Yep. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, I got it. Ooh. Miss me. How am I fucking up this bed? There we go. Nice. Cool, thanks. Is it a shirt? Nope, it's fucking goddamn it. Shit that I don't fucking want or need. I don't really want or need that either, but I'm taking along. Because why not? I knew that was gonna happen. Just trying to run away from it before I did that. No shit. I knew I couldn't do that. Maybe this is where it came from, actually. Is it? No, it's not. It can't be. Oh, no, because down there is exactly where it came from. Okay. How do I get back down there safely? 'Cause that's what I was fighting. Or what was fighting me. Yikes. How do I do this? How do I do this properly? Oh my god. Sick. I like stone. I like you do. That's so stupid. Okay. Anyways. Got a fire emitter on the shield. Oh my god, I hate getting opal. Give me something I can fucking use, dude. I hate getting ores and shit that I can't actually fucking use. It's so annoying. Great, thanks. Awesome. Same fucking deal. Going down is exactly what I want, right? Okay, whatever. Oh shit, I didn't realize how low on health I was. Hey, whoops. Oopsies. Oh, fuck, what is my last save? That's a good question. Oh, just, okay. Okay, that's fine. God damn it. Oh, wait, I can't fucking use that shit. God damn it. Oh, wait. Oh, fuck. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, fuck. There we go. Poke, 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 poke. Poke, 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 poke. Poke, 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 poke. Oh, well, shit. Give me something flame emitter, and it didn't actually tell me that it was a new thing. Interesting. Damn. I don't really want charred pepper. Fuck. Fuck. Dude, I want to get down. I can't go into that water because she said it was bad. I'm gonna try anyways. Oh, it just kills me. Can't tell me that the last save was after I fucked up that guy. Did I just fuck up again? I think I just fucked up again. Yeah, I did. Shit. Jesus. Thank you. Okay. Oh my god. Anyways. Save, please. There we go. I'm done. Perfect. Fucking nailed it. Okay. Anyways, how do I get more down from where I am? Good question. Yeah, okay. That's fine, I saved. That's fine. It's okay. thought I pressed continue. Sorry. My bad. Oh boy. But like, how do I get down then? Is there a way like around this area? Or like, and there's not through that, I just checked. Like I was literally just in there. No, there isn't. Okay, hate low stamina, it's so annoying. How long have I been here? An hour? Sounds about right. Babool gem? Is that the goal of coming in here? There's no fucking way. The goal of coming in here is to get back down, isn't it? Please? Fuck. Dude, me stalling is not helping. That's why I need a glider, bro. It's bad, it's bad, it's awful, it's bad. So bad. Oh, that's right. Wait, could I have, no. I was gonna say, could I have climbed those all the way over here? No. Couldn't have. That's impossible. It was impossible. Impossible to do that. No, fuck. Fucking goddamn it. Fuck. Fucking goddamn it, Link. Fucking Christ. Fucking goddamn it, Link! Why'd you do that, bro? Why'd you fucking do that? Why'd you fucking jump? I didn't jump down! Why'd you fucking do that? Falling death, yeah, no fucking shit. Okay. Why'd you fucking do that, dude? Fucking idiot. God damn it, Link. Dude, we fucking got up there, and then this idiot fucking jumps to his goddamn death. It's like he wants to die, right? It's like he fucking wants to die. I need a goddamn glider, bro. Pisses me off that I don't have one. I hate not having a glider. Did I not climb up from here? Yeah, I did. Yeah. Dude, the fact that I'm pretty sure I'm about to die to cold anyways makes this that much shittier. Unless I can find a pot somewhere. Which I don't actually know where there is one. Oh, thank fucking God. Do I have peppers? I do. Thank fucking God. I was gonna be so fucking pissed, dude. Can I get all the way back down from here? Is that what I can do from here? Looks like it, looks like it, looks like it, looks like it. Oh, fuck me, unless I should have gone the other way around. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. I should have. I definitely should have gone down here. There we go. That's where I need to go next, right? Sorry I took this big of a fucking detour. Probably shouldn't have, but I did because I wanted to. Sorry. Oh, I said search. What the fuck? Fuck, dude. Okay, anyways. Alright, and this is where I entered. It's down here. Fucking bitch is what's down here. Is there something? Yeah. Oh, two fucking bitches. Maybe if I move around, they won't see me. Though I'm pretty sure those ones are the weaker ones. So it won't matter too much. But I don't really want to fight. You know? Fuck. I say as. Yeah, it's the weaker ones. So we're good. Sick. Sick. Thanks. Thanks for making an easy fight for me. I appreciate it. Oof. Don't want that. Spicy peppers. Spicy goddamn peppers. Fucking spicy peppers. I fucking hate you. God damn it. You're getting fucking banned. I wish banning got it away from my fucking screen. It's annoying. Take root bloom, giving off a faint light from a small flower. Like these I can make into arrows, right? I remember a little bit, but not enough. You know? Alright, let's progress. I got a bow. It's pretty neat. I didn't have that last time. No, I missed. Dang it. Gonna have bird and shrooms tonight. Oh, I still can. Oh, okay, it's just meat. Okay, it's just regular meat. I thought it was gonna be the raw bird meat. I was wrong. Fuck, where's that giant fucking sculpture there? Like, do I remember that island? Kind of? Maybe? A little? I don't know. Possibly. Oh, nope, you're good. You're not, but you are. Hi. Okay. Yeah, I know that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate you telling me. Thank you. Temple of Time. Yeah, I don't need the cold resistance. I'm pretty okay. Thanks, though. Stanics. I didn't even read the fucking name, it just annoyed me.
That door will open only to those with sufficient power.
Hello.
I'm sorry. I did not intend to startle you. It was I that spoke to you earlier. That arm originally
That's my
belonged to me.
hand.
I am
Rory. Source of the right arm. You know, source of the arm that you now have on your body.
Fortunately, I no longer have a physical form.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
In any case, that arm should allow you to open this door.
I got that.
It seems to have lost the power to do so. You might be able to restore it, but you would need to enter a place filled with sacred light. Of course. Why not visit the shrines on this island?
I tried to go there. Damn it. I need to go back. Fuck.
Shrines. Yes, I'm sure they are the key.
Damn it. Alright, let me go then. Oh my god. Oh my god. Uh-huh. Thanks. Oof. Running off the edge. Smart. Whoops. Really smart. Yeah, you can fucking chill. Really? Yeah, I'm not fucking dealing with you, bro. Just want to go to this shrine thing. Co-shrine. There's so much more in this map, dude. There's so much more in this map. What is the end of the tutorial? Hi, Raru. This is a shrine of light. Long ago, I filled these places with light that purges evil. I believe this light will restore an ability your right arm has lost. Now then, extend your hand. Da 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 da. Wow. Ultra hand. Grab and move objects, rotate them, and stick them to other objects. Thanks. I got you. Thanks. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was about to say, I am a fucking genius. No, I still am. I still am. Whee. Still am a genius. I'm a genius. Ugh. I don't know how long I'm going to be playing this game, if I'm honest. I want to play it longer, but I'm also really fucking tired. Maybe if I go grab some food and then come back. After having food. Do I get my own hand back at the end of this? I never actually, like, realized. I can't skip it. It's so fucking annoying. Excuse me. You did very well getting through that shrine, and you've restored an ability. This is wonderful. If you visit and complete 2 more shrines, you should be able to open the door to the Temple of Time. You may want to mark the shrines in the distance with pins, then you'll never lose. Okay. Yeah. Well, I had already gotten to this one. Oh my god. I hate that. Already gotten to... Fuck. Gotten to that one. I just need to get to it again. Where's the other one? There's one there. What is all the way over there? Intriguing. Anyways. Oh, I understand what that is. Oh, not what I meant to do, but that's fine. Is that fine? No, it's not. Hold up, back it up. Whoa. You did not attach the way I thought you would because I didn't attach the right thing. Okay, hold up. It's still fine though. I just didn't attach the right thing. Whoops. Oopsie. Anyways. Okay. Hi. Hi, Rabu. Right, yeah, I already did it. Okay, fine. Yeah, morning, please. Guess I want to go back to that snow shrine, please. I mean, I do, but I also actually don't. I don't know. Can, but I also don't want to, you know. I do, however, think that I will climb up this, obviously, and then go to break for like 10 to 15 minutes, however long it takes for me to get food, grab food, and then go or come back. So hi, you're hunting. Yeah, I got that. I got that. Thanks. Yeah, this way. That's what I thought. What are you? Stambled. Fuck. Shit. Can I move these? Yes, I can. Dragon! Okay, great. Glad those are there. Just because I'm an idiot. Thanks. What? No, I'm not. I mean, I would be to you if I could hurt you, but I can't, so no, I'm not. I want to move you up. Why can't I move you up? It's so weird. You can move up. Cool. A lot of fucking arrows. Hell yeah. Oops, oops, oops. Alright, I seriously am going to be right back. So enjoy. I'll be back in like 10 to 15. Give me a second. have that. At least, not to my knowledge.
For periods of time, sometimes an hour, he'll just pause, staring at the text. You are safe here.
There's a video you can watch where they do this and it's dead ass 12 hours. Do you think it was dead ass New Year freaking Eve when they recorded it? Not nothing. He's gonna snap out of it.
I don't know who the guy is, but if you left me this message, I feel like I owe it to him to well, the trail drops. So hopefully Colin and Julie can go coming for like 30 more, if not more. Someone else, I have to keep going.
Saturation up. Life restored. He's back. So sorry. I forgot. I'm sorry. I won't forget again. I won't forget.
But the battle isn't over yet. He's one bridge closer to Durlor 3. But to get to him, he still has a ways to go.
Dude, low key. Why not just bridge over? Am I crazy? Just get some blocks, bridge over, call it a day.
Isn't over yet.
This is worse than the first part. That's not over. But in general, in media, it is a lot easier to ask questions than to answer them. In a lot of shows that you love, it's usually when they answer questions that you start to not like the show. Talk about fucking Jeopardy. Honestly, that would be an exception to the rule. That part's usually good. It gave me 3D Minecraft buds.
as well. It's likely that this pattern is actually some sort of door that opens up another room, and the button that Avery pressed earlier might have something to do with opening it. He goes around the pond, and on each one of these pillars is another button revealing some valuable block, and Avery lists all of them out.
Gold, diamond, iron, emerald. Iron again.
But what to actually do with them isn't
Gold, diamond, iron, gold, emerald, iron.
obvious. After a bit of thinking, Avery tries simply breaking into the pillars. If this is meant to be a riddle or combination lock, then you can force it open by looking at the wiring. But inside of every single pillar is nothing. It's just a small circuit that reveals the valuable block by opening the trap door. No connection to any sort of larger redstone circuit, except this pillar with the diamond block. Inside it, it has a small tower made of quartz, but it doesn't seem to lead anywhere special. The puzzle must have something to do with the blocks themselves, not with the actual buttons. And Avery is once again stuck in figuring it out.
Too Avery's too fucking stupid. No way you tried that, bro. Not my fucking main character, dude. Screw this. Screw this puzzle. It's like Death Note when it went from L to that little kid. I need L back, dude. He was so smart. Okay, draining it. Hold on. Bit of a thinker. Now what?
The block that this door is made of is netherite, the hardest breakable block in all of Minecraft. Without any tools, it takes 4 minutes and 10 seconds to destroy. Very few people would willingly choose to break the netherite here because chances are solving this puzzle would open the door instantly. But Avery is done trying to solve these puzzles how the world wants him to.
No, dude, Avery's just a fucking idiot. He can't figure it out. Like,
Huh?
you know, I like the way you're trying to spin it, but
He's going
Okay. I want ice cream, but I want ice cream and the chocolate shell, but we don't have chocolate shell. And I used them every night until they were gone. 2 scoops every night until they were gone. But also, the chocolate shell is only like half filled in that container. Alright. There's so many things. Okay. Hi, welcome back. Oh, fuck me. Why do you do that? Oh my god. Who's the last one? Oh. No, I did not notice. Uh-huh. I'm aware. Oh my god, I'm aware. Damn it. Yeah, these things won't actually open it. That's so sad. Okay. Excuse me. Well, that is one that I marked at least. That's good to know. Alright, whatever. Just fucking dash. Just fucking dash, dude. God damn it. I shouldn't have come back yet. I need to go to the restroom. Ah! I'm so sorry. I need to use the restroom, but... not what I wanted to do. Or whatever. Okay. Ah! Fuck. Okay, anyways, give me another moment. I'm so sorry. I'm back. I'm so sorry. Okay, so you get attached to that one. I can honestly make this thing as big as I want, right? Cool. But like right though, I can like make this as big as I want to make it. Yeah, keep going. I was 100% thinking of this game for like last or when I was playing the last game, I was like, can't I like have a portable pot to cook food? No, that's in this game. You have a portable pot. It's like an actual thing. I was just playing the wrong game. A lot of things I was thinking of this game instead of Breath of the Wild. Whoopsies. Take full responsibility. Inisa Shrine. Yeah, okay. Just go into the shrine, please. Ugh. Hi. Raura? So I can't remember. I can't remember the name. Raura? Raura? Was you fuse something nearby to your weapon or shield, therefore enhancing it. Okay. So I know what I needed to do. I'm fully aware of what I needed to do. You need to go to the wooden stick. There we go. Yeah. See? Perfect. Boom. Great. Hey. Huh? But what? But what and why though? I need a key is what it looks like, but like how do I get it? Not from there. Hey, but I destroyed everything. Yeah. I need a key. How do I get the key? Oh, I'm so fucking stupid. Okay, I didn't even fucking see it. I didn't even see it, dude. I was like, what do I do? I didn't look. I didn't look high enough. Key. Woohoo! Oh, fuck. There we go. There we go. Yay. Awesome. Oh, great. You can do it too. First of all, I want this one. Second of all, I want that. So that I can not really worry about it. Yeah. Can I please skip? Like a blessing. Thank you. Can I please skip? Skip it. Dude, navigating without a glider genuinely is so fucking frustrating. I relied too much on it, I think. But it's so frustrating not having it. It genuinely is pissing me off. Glider. Fuck you. I like arrows, but like, fuck you. This has got to be more shit than what I had last time. Where I was. Or where I am, I mean. Staminella! Yay! Anyways, where's the next shrine? Literally down this way, wherever the fuck. What the fuck? Oh my god, it's all the way up there, and I came down here. Shit. Hold up.
I put the ice cream in a smaller container.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that container's broken. The container that I was in, I think I broke it. I had opened it, tried to scoop some out, and the spoon hit the side, I guess a little too hard, and it cracked it.
Oh, well, it's a good thing I moved it to a new container. It's in the sink.
Okay.
So if it starts leaking,
Well, let me know.
It's got water in it. So if there's no water in it in like 30 minutes.
Okay. It needs to be thrown out. I can already tell you it needs to be thrown out. Oh, can I not teleport? No. I can't fast travel. Oh no. That's all I want to do right now. Dude, what? I can't fast travel. That's all I want to do is fast travel. Depressing. That's all I want to do. God damn it, dude. Fuck. Fuck off. Yeah. Thanks. Oh, take the shield. Raise attack. Let's raise my attack. Why not? Restore stamina. Attach it to a stick and it can be used as a fan. Oh my god. Discovery. Pondside Cave. Oh my god. Alright, fuck off. Fuck off, y'all. Oh my god. Fuck off. Ah! cannot be eaten in that form, but it can be cooked. I can, however, cook with it. Oh my god, really? Great, I got a ruby. So when I can finally fucking sell shit and earn some rubies, that's what I'm earning. Or that's what I'm selling, I mean. Probably the same amount, 200, whatever. 200 bones. I keep going down, so this is not... Ooh! It's, you know what? It's a shirt. Hi! How might you be? Kaya, thanks. Kinda wanna make a flying device so that I can just fly. There it is. Jesus. Bye-bye. Damn. Okay, cool, I'm here. Just eat it. I don't care. Why can I not grab it? What? What the hell? Why can I not grab it? Good thing I did that. Can I grab it now? grab this one? What the fuck? No way I wasn't close enough to it. There's no way I wasn't close enough to it. So what the hell? It's fucking weird. There we go. That's weird. Sorry, but why? Really fucking pissing me off here. Doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any fucking sense. This one? Yeah. Oh, look at that. Fucking grab this one. Oh my god. Oh, yeah, and I'm back down. Yeah, okay, great. Because fucking of course I am. Fuck you, Link. So obnoxious. Oh my god. Oh no, that was right. Nope. Awesome. Just want to get over there. But it's not gonna let me grab any of these. I don't think, is it? Oh my god, it does. Let's me grab this one. Oof. Bring it closer to me. It just straight up doesn't let me grab that one anymore. So fucking annoying, by the way. It's so fucking annoying. Can I just... Ooh! Fuck! And jump. Oh my god, my heart just fucking went into my stomach just then. I didn't fucking jump. Holy shit. Okay, we're gonna save where I am right now, at this moment. Cause absolutely fuck this shit. This is the most annoying thing I've ever had to do in any game ever. Is fucking climb like this. Like, it's cool, it's a cool mechanic, but the fact that I have to keep doing it and it won't actually save me being on it, like, automatically. Because it's not, like, I'm technically on land. It saves every, like, 3 or 4 minutes on actual land. But since I'm not technically on land, it's not gonna fucking save me. Okay. Save. Again. So I'm not on the Great Sky Island. Or I'm not on that little fucker. I don't know what the fuck I'm on. I'm not on that fuck. It's gonna be arrows. Oh no. Okay, it's gonna be an elixir. Interesting. This is arrows though. Hey, give me my fucking arrow. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's not how fucking physics works. What the shit? All my arrows are fucking rolling away. What the shit? The hell was that? Anyways. I'm here now. Can you fucking... fuck. Save me here. Thanks. Fuck. Oh, I know what that is. I know what this is. Hi. What's up, dude? Raw-roo, I was right. Oh, no, I think I said raw-raw. Raw-roo. The sight of the temple and the sound of its bell stir fond memories in me. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Sorry, dude. I'm fucking idiot. I'm sorry. Oh, I thought I marked 3. Apparently it didn't. I thought I marked 3 of them, though. I thought there were 3 shrines to mark, but apparently not. Oh, that's right. I remember this. Hey, give me the fucking Korok. Oh my god. No, you didn't. Just couldn't move him with his fucking fat ass and okay. Cool, thanks. Bye. Jesus. Okay, so this is a workstation apparently. Bye-bye. Okay, but then how do I do that? Yeah, I knew I needed another fan. But now I don't have another fan. Yeah, no problem. I don't have another fan now, though. Fuck. Hold up. Can you tell me how to use it? Device cannot be put back in its capsule until you have removed them. More capsules are always available at device dispensers. How do I do it though? How do I do it? How do I activate the dispenser? And tell me. Maybe she didn't. I'm just an idiot who's not actually reading through fully. Dropping any resource. Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. Okay. Extract energy from whatever finite for the crafting of weapons and armors. For the crafting. I'm so sorry. Oh, God. There, whatever. Trying to go up that way because I think that way might be quicker. Oh no, it actually isn't even at all. So, whatever. Hi there. Cool. Mm-hmm. Primary safeguards used by our creators were meals that warmed them. Okay, yeah. I got a meal. Thanks. What is that? Oh. Okay, it's my first Korok. Nice. Like a pretty big explosion, apparently. Jesus. Hi, Raru. At the time, it was sadly necessary to protect her. Okay, I'm terribly sorry for the threat I pose to you now. Oh, fuck. I missed. Sick. Dang it. I could pick it up. I didn't want to. Guess I can drop that, do that, sit till morning. Almost 3 hours. I want to get into the temple and then I can go to bed, but like, I really want to get into the temple, bro. Nope, don't need it. Yeah, this one's stamina too. Okay. Actually, no. Get rid of that. My hair felt weird. Where do I need to go? I swear to God, it was close. Oh, over here. I don't actually know if I was close at all. But over here is where I need to go. So I answered my question. Find this cave. Yeah, I've been here. We're gonna go up. Dude, seriously not being able to fast travel is fucking killing me. Fast travel and gliding, I really fucking need. Please give it back to me. Please. Pretty please give it back to me. Being so nice and earnest, you know? Guten back. I guess I know how to get down from here now. Could be worse. Oh shit. Robbie. I'm like, what? So you've made it here. Now then, extend your right hand. Hey, go. Yeah, it's my right hand. Why are you looking at it like it's crazy? Wow. Da 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 da. Move upward through solid material and emerge on top of it. That's right. Gotta be something here. Yeah. Only reason this would be a thing. Shit. Drop this one. I don't need the fucking... I don't need the fucking broadsword thing. There it is. Kind of hate that animation. Pretty fucking easy. That was pretty fucking easy. Thank you. Bye bye. Oh my god. Bye bye. Okay. Cool, thanks. Light of blessing. I have a few of those now. Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye bye. I do like building shit, though. The building shit aspect is very fun. Hi. The door to the temple should open for you now. Oh, yeah. First of all, give me this. But also, now I can do this. Which might make it easier on me. fuck me. I don't know if I need the cold resistance anymore now. Does in fact make it easier on me. Okay, so I... Oh, wait. Hold up. I want it... Oh, God damn it. Because I want it to be... Unless there's one up there. Oh, wait. Can I grab that? Right now? No. Okay. Anyways, Oh, what? Okay, there we go. I'm like, what? I hate that. That animation is fucking ridiculous. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, this. Can I talk to you? Use it to recover a small amount. Okay. But like... How do you use it? I don't know. Because obviously I want to make... Obviously I want to make that into something. But it's not... Make it possible to produce portable Zonite devices in the form of Zonite capsules. Yeah, they are simple to use. Hold materials in your hands and place them into the receptacle. It is similar to a cooking pot. Accepted resources are things such as construction horns and Zonite shards. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. I make them. Are you gonna give me 3? Or did I just kind of fuck that up? Yeah, you're gonna give me... Oh, you're gonna give me a ton. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So wait, where did those get held? Here. Oh. Dude. Hold everything. Just get everything. Wait a minute. I'm just an idiot. I thought I had to, like, put the stuff in it and then it becomes a capsule. And I'm like, oh, wait, easy. No. I put in my charges so I can get capsules from it. That's so much better than what I thought. There isn't anything special, though, which is kind of sad. Like, this is the only... I mean, flame emitter, that's pretty cool. But, like, That's the only thing. I have so many wings. Oh, the wings are what I fucking want, dude. Wings help me fucking fly, dude. Oh, shit. Okay, hold on. That's why we have multiple tries. Come closer to me. So that I can do that. And then this. I would like my personal glider back, but this is not terrible. That is though. Oh, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Fuck! Shit. 3 hours. 3 fucking hours. Oh my god, how much shit did I, like, lose? Wait a minute, how much shit did I fucking lose? Did I lose all of those things? Oh, man. Oh, man. But I did that for so long. I should have saved! Son of a bitch. Son of a poopy bitch. Oh, I can't fucking skip it. The first time I can't skip. Why can't I skip? Okay, yeah. Oh my god. How many wings are you gonna give me? Are you gonna give me all the wings that I had back? Are you gonna give me everything? Probably not, right? Uh-huh. That's everything. That's everything. Now I'm okay to do whatever I fucking want. I hate this. I should have saved. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I should have saved right before fucking taking off. Ah! Grab fucking everything. No, I have less wings. I have less wings. Oh well. Oh well. It's the wrong. Hold on. It's the wrong. Thank God the landing on the lily pad doesn't do anything. Dude, I would have been even more pissed off. I don't actually remember if I saved or not. I don't think I did. Actually, now I know I didn't. Oh my God. Oh wait, did I not grab those pants? Aw. Oh, I did. Okay. I'm like, damn. So I wanted real pants. Yay! That works for me. Zelda? Hello? The closed door. Hello. Hi, Zelda. Oh, bye-bye, Zelda. Damn. I don't have to remember her this time, which is nice. Recall. Reverse an object's movement until it goes back to where it was. You can stop the reverse movement at any time. Oh, recall. The ability to reverse the movement of an object through time. And Zelda has vanished as well. What you just saw, it's a mystery even to me. Perhaps it was a sort of echo, one that reflects your sheer will. That you've now been given the ability, no doubt it will prove important. I'm dripping wet. Why? Literally, why? Hello. Hylia? Yep. Goddess Hylia? The goddess statue smiles upon you. Oh, wait, is that it? Guess so. Manual we can state you're not yet strong enough to open it. Oh, okay. There you can get another blessing. God fucking piece of shit. Damn it. Does this mean that you're gonna let me fucking fast travel? Thank fucking God. Yeah, I want to fast travel. Please, dear God. That's fine. Where's the last shrine? It's not that one. That one I already got. That one's the one I just got, right? It's in the snowy place. Where's the last one? Oh my God. I didn't even realize I have movement controls. I was like, why is it so fucking shaky? It's because I'm fucking shaky. Bro. I hate it. I don't know. I don't know where the last one is. I can't tell. Maybe if I go up to this shrine and look down, maybe I'll be able to see it then. I really have no idea where the last shrine is. Actually, confusing. There's the dragon. Hello. Can I turn off movement controls? Hold on. Sorry. Special controls. Scope and pins. Okay, weird. Options. Aim with motion. No. Dear God, no. Good. Much better. Because the shaking was fucking me up. And I thought it was just Link. No, it's me. Did I don't think I got that one. What is that one? Oh no, that's the one that I was looking at before. That's next to the... Okay, I did get that one. Like, what? Oh, I definitely didn't get... Maybe I did. I'm like, I definitely didn't get that one. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. I did. I got both of the ones I... God fucking damn it. The Room of Awakening. I can travel to it. Oh, nice. Sick. Device dispenser. Okay, sick. Oh, wait. It tells you which ones you get. Oh, that's sick. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so I got that. I got both of the ones that I fucking pinned. So. It's gotta be one more. Obviously, I didn't pin. I don't think I can actually even get to that bit, so. Where's the last fucking shrine? Why didn't you, like, tell me? You know? Why didn't you say, hey, yeah, it's here? Might be, you know, that jazz there, so. What if I... take out device. No, what am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh. You can go? Okay, hang on. Evidently not. Oh. Bye-bye, birdie. Fucker. Okay. I don't actually know how to do that properly, if I'm honest. Because I can't just, like... will it to go, you know? Can't just like hit it and say, hey, let's go. Maybe if I teeter it like I had before and then hit it. Oh, that's not teetered enough, I guess. Oh, well, that's gonna drop again. Hey, now. Savior. I don't know how to do this properly. Can't just like move it when I'm on it, you know? Great. Second one! I need my fucking glider. I need my glider. It's annoying the shit out. It annoys me so much. What the fuck? It annoys me so much. I don't know how to do it. I just don't. Don't know how it works. I was like, yeah, we got this. We're great. We're good. No, I don't know how the fuck to do it. Fucking annoys me, dude. Okay, I need to get down from here safely, which is proving to be really fucking difficult for me because I don't know how. I don't know how to get down. This is also just all gonna prove to be a fucking wash, right? This is all just gonna prove to be like ridiculous. You don't have to do this. You're just stupid. That's exactly what this is gonna be, and I'm gonna fucking cry. Because I don't have to do any of this shit. There's nothing I can, like, fucking teleport to at all down here. Like, this is where... Oh, wait. This is where I awoke. So, hold on. Hold on. Ah, shit. God damn it. I didn't even know there was a back button. Holy fuck. Oh. That's what I get for being impatient. There it is. Jesus. Okay. They'll need to rewind. Got it. Just trying to just... Jesus Christ. Okay. I got it. Oh my god, skip. Oh my god, skip. Da 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 da, ba-ding. Cool, thanks. Bye. Ugh. I hate that the first time things happen, I can't actually, like... Oh, Jesus. No. God, no. Yeah, this is down the butt end. This is... Oh no, this is right. Oh. Grab. It's probably gonna take a minute. What's happening? I'm gonna die. I am gonna fucking... Yeah, die. It scared me. Shit. Shit! Luckily I didn't really do much. And I can go to the... fucking... What's it called? Thing. Shrine thing. This thing. And I can... It is the Purapad is the thing that is teleporting me, so that is indeed correct. I shouldn't have any of those. Yeah, okay. Bye-bye. Oh my god. Fuck off, dude. Can do it. Yay. I hate this. I want a heart container. She only gives me heart containers. That's good. That's good to know. Sorry. Elbow's starting to hurt, which means I really need to stop playing and go to bed. Elbow's like really starting to hurt, actually. Yay.
Good. I see you have managed to open the door. You haven't fully recovered yet. That is to be expected. You're almost beyond saving.
Again.
By visiting the shrines, receiving their blessings, you have mitigated some of the corruption's effects. Though our time together has been brief, I'm so happy that we finally met.
You'll always be with me.
Exactly as Zelda said.
Obviously. I have your arm, after all.
Everything I can for you. Now it's up to you.
Bye. I guess you're officially dead. My work here is done. Zelda? Are you giving me my glider? Please? Put it down on the rock, Link. And I think we lose the Master Sword. Again. Pretty certain. Like, I don't think we keep the Master Sword throughout the game, which fucking sucks. Oh, unless we do. I don't know, she's reversing time on it. Oh no, she takes it. Yeah, she took it. It's crying. I will get it back. Oh my god. Hi. Holy shit. What is that? It's so fucking cool, dude. Man, it's Hyrule. Wow.
Link. Link. You must find me.
That guy landed exactly there. Last time I played. To the Kingdom of Hyrule, yeah. So where's my fucking glider? I'm just gonna fucking go and we're gonna deal with this like this, I guess. Fuck it. Whoops. Why'd I do that? I don't know. I didn't mean to. Welcome to Hyrule. Okay, I'm gonna find a place to rest. Not there. Obviously. The fuck? Okay. Oh, my fucking glider, bro. Kinda think it was adorable that he was carrying those. I want this and this. Do this. Do that. Do this. Morning. It's 3:45 a.m. It's almost morning anyways, but I don't care. 11:55. I'll be up in the morning. I'll be up earlier in the morning to play more games. But thank you guys so much for being here. I very much appreciate you guys. And I will see you in the next stream, most likely tomorrow, to play more fucking Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, because I fucking got it. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. Have a good one. Bye. What button do I press?